Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lukenessmonster, and today Astroneer did officially release their custom game modes update, and this update is really insane. So today we're going to be going over everything that's new, from new palettes all the way to every single new feature added to the game, as well as the patch notes. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, Astroneer actually did release a trailer for this update, and it will be playing in the background, but if you do want to go watch it, I suggest going over to Astroneer's YouTube channel and checking it out. It will be linked in the description if you are interested. So, jumping right into the patch notes, this is the first screen you'll see when you click on the Custom Game Mode tab, and basically this entire UI lets you create your own custom world. And so just from this first tab here, you can pretty much decide if you want to save this seed directly to your console or if you want to share it and publish it to everyone else, which is pretty dang cool. And so all they essentially would need to know is the code you get, or the seed, and then once they put that into your game, you can pretty much essentially get any world that somebody else has already made, which is super cool. So if you found a really good seed for like speedrunning, or one that's really good for this or that, you can get this seed put into your machine and all the settings will auto adjust to get that seed perfectly, which is super cool. But next up, looking at just some of the general changes that make a big difference to this game. For starters, in the custom game mode section now, you can click to skip the launch sequence. So essentially just the little animation you get with like your shelter exploding and it starting up. You can skip that animation if you want. Not a huge change, but I know it is a good, 10-15 seconds. So that would help for speed runs. It knocks a good 10-15 seconds off of your run. You could also go ahead and select no starting shelter. And so you go ahead, you immediately land on the planet and you have no source of power, no source of oxygen, and so this would be great for challenging runs because you have to find a way to get oxygen and power pretty dang quickly in your run, or else you're going to suffocate and die. And then you also have the opportunity, which this is absolutely huge, to choose your own starting planet now, which is so cool. This is going to add a lot to the game, being able to start your game on different planets and being able to experiment with which resources you get off respawn. That's super cool, and I'm excited to see how that goes. Another thing you can change is your starting backpack items. So if you want to start with a full stack of ammonium, or if you want QTRTGs or portable oxygenators, anything like that, you can go ahead and select it to auto start in your backpack, which is again a pretty cool feature. And it's one that's going to make your game easier if you don't want to go through all the hassle of unlocking a bunch of different items. This thing it's a pretty cool feature. They also added respawn settings, which means you can limit the amount of respawns your Astroneer has, or you can limit other people in your game's respawn. So essentially, if you have 3 people in your game and you set it to 5, if all 3 of you die twice, then that's 6 respawns. That's 1 over your respawn limit. You like one of you guys wouldn't be able to respawn. So there's stuff like that. But essentially, this adds hardcore mode into the game, because if you die, your save file ends, and essentially it transfers it over to a creative save file, and so then you can't get achievements anymore. And yeah, so pretty cool game mode. I really like the idea of hardcore. Hardcore is one of my favorite things in Minecraft, so to see it come to Astroneer is a super cool feature, and I'm really excited to get to try this out. If you guys want to see a hardcore playthrough, let me know, because it's something I'd definitely be willing to do on the channel. They also added in power and oxygen settings, which essentially for power you can change like the solar, I guess like the solar power generated or the wind power generated on each planet. So say you want your glacio to be really, really sunny, you can turn that all the way up, and then your solar panels will start getting a lot more power from the sun, or same thing for wind, etc. I believe you can even do generators. So pretty interesting. But yeah, if you want to like increase your power consumption or even your power generation, you can do that. Now for oxygen settings, there's oxygen consumption multiplier. So essentially what you can do if you want your oxygen to go a lot faster or a lot slower, or I guess you essentially use it up faster or slower, you can do that. So if you want it to be really, really difficult to maintain oxygen, or you want it to be really easy to maintain oxygen, you can change that. And there's also a free oxygen toggle, which is super controversial in my opinion. This essentially allows you to turn off the ability to need oxygen. You just automatically have it. Now, I think this is definitely interesting and controversial because this still works with achievements. So you can turn on your free oxygen, complete the game without ever needing oxygen, and it still gives you the achievements for doing it, which I think is almost like cheating. It's almost like creative mode, but they said they wanted to add it in to kind of take away a stress level for people who just want to enjoy the story aspect of it, which I do understand, but I do wish they would have added more story aspects to enjoy if that's the case. They also added in editability to your research settings as well as your research catalog, so you can pretty much change your starting bytes as well as how much bytes you get or the speed you get them. So again, pretty interesting change. But one thing that I think is super interesting is they added research catalog settings, so you can disable the ability to unlock different things in your research catalog. So if you don't want any vehicles, you can disable them, and then when you get in your game, you just won't be able to buy any vehicles. This goes for pretty much any item in the game, which it's kind of crazy. So that'll definitely be interesting, and I'll have to see how that actually translates to the game. But I could definitely see people sharing their own custom game modes where you just can't unlock anything, and it'll make your game really, really difficult. Also added in the ability to fully customize your entire solar system, and with this you can essentially, any planet or moon in the game, you can fully customize it to your liking, which is super cool. On a planetary level, you can change the gravity, the seed, the ambient wind rate, as well as the random gust of wind rate. So this is great for your wind consumption, as well as cool if you just want like a low gravity planet, you can do that, which I think is really cool. And they also added in specific biome editors, so this applies to every single biome in the game, from mountains to plains to forests to caves. Everything in the game, you can adjust each type of biome on every single planet. And these settings you can change are the biome weight, so essentially this means like the size of the biome. So if you crank it all the way up to 20, that means it's going to be the largest possible. Say you do it to the mountains, you're going to get the largest mountains possible generated, which is pretty cool. You can also do the POI frequency, or point of interest. So this essentially means pieces of debris or different stuff like that, pieces of interest. Crank it up to 20, there's a ton of them all over your map. There's also decorator frequency, puzzle frequency, resource frequency, as well as snail shell frequency. So I think resource frequency is going to be crazy, because if you crank that all the way up, your entire planet is going to be filled with a ton of resources, so it's not going to be hard to find anything that you need. Here are all of the bug fixes that did go into this update. Feel free to pause and read through all of them if you would like. And then here are all of the still known issues that are in this update that they are working to fix. Here's the first one, feel free to pause it, and here is the second one. And then next up, this is really the last piece of news about this update, but essentially they added a brand new palette to the game that is unlocked by completing the game on hardcore mode. I am really excited to try to unlock this palette. I'll definitely do this as a YouTube series, so make sure to subscribe if you want to watch that. But yeah, brand new palette, which is kind of cool. I don't know what it looks like yet, and honestly, I don't really want to know, because I want to try to unlock this out on my own and figure out what it looks like on my own. So pretty cool. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody's even unlocked this yet. Completing the game on hardcore mode is going to be really, really hard, and the update's only been out for a day, so I wouldn't be surprised if no one's got it. But honestly, people surprise me every day in this game, and I could believe that someone's already done it. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite part of this update is, and make sure to stick around on the channel, because I'm going to be doing a lot of custom gameplay on the channel here, so if you do want to see that, make sure to stick around. I'll see y'all in the next video.